Hi, welcome to the Repetend screencast here. Just going to talk a little bit and show some examples of good Repetends to help you understand what it is you need to do for your MGRP. As it says in your packet, the Repetend serves as a transition piece, a piece that gives cohesiveness to a project that isn't necessarily in a straight line like your traditional research paper where everything's in print and you're just writing an essay, and so each paragraph's tied together with transitional statements. Your MGRP has all sorts of different things, but you still need to have that sense of cohesiveness, things sticking together and making sense for your reader. So the Repetend helps to do that. Sounds like repeat, and that's exactly what it is. It's some sort of repeating element that helps to sort of transition between ideas, introduce ideas, pique the reader's interest, give them an overall big picture. It can do any and all of these things if it's done well. So we're going to take a quick look at 3 different example Repetends in various multi-genre research projects to see how they work and how they function. Now, these aren't necessarily the only way to have a successful Repetend, nor are they perfect, but what they are is a good example of some of the good things that a good Repetend needs to do. So we'll take a look at some of these. First, we have let's start with this one. We have an MGRP for a Vision Quest about journalism. Right, this student was writing for a newspaper for her senior project, and so what she wanted to do was, in her MGRP, she wanted to take a look at the state of print media. Is print media like newspapers and magazines that are actually printed on paper? Are they on their way out? Was the question she wanted to research. So she found all sorts of stuff. She put together her MGRP. To service her Repetends, what she decided to do, because part of her argument was that yes, indeed, print media is on the decline, and so in order to help show that in an interesting, subtle way, her Repetends, she decided to use the format of tweets to show how things are moving away from print and onto online, onto Twitter, onto social media. And so Repetend 1 here is a tweet, as are all of her Repetends. Now, she created an actual Twitter account and actually tweeted these based on real statistics that she found and placed them in here. As for the reality, it looks just like a tweet because it is a tweet. That's a good thing. It gives a statistic. It's not all the information that you need to know about why print media is on the decline, but it helps the reader get the feeling of what you might learn, what you might get in the next genre. And so then, lo and behold, if you're to read genre 1, genre 2, genre 3, something from the Repetend sort of leads in every time. That's one really good way to use a Repetend very effectively. So Repetend 2 then. New York Times reached 500,000 digital subscribers in 1 year. Repetend 3. Twitter has over 465 million active accounts. All of this is helping this student bring together her overall argument that yes, print media is on the way out. It is a Repetend because it repeats sort of the similar structure throughout. It gives sort of a thread that runs all the way through to the project. 46% of people get their news from online sources at least 3 times a week. I think she actually got that one retweeted by the New York Times, which was a pretty interesting thing. So that's one way to go. A series of tweets, a series of emails. Sometimes it can tell a story, sometimes it can give statistics, but what it doesn't need to be is just some boring sort of non-visual thing that doesn't really attach to what the overall idea is. Here's another good example. Multi-genre research project about baking around the world. Different baking traditions in different places. So for Repetend 1, turns out she did pictures that turned out to be postcards. And so she has these travel time postcards that all go into different places around the world. So that's genre 1, sort of setting up her idea that she's going to do the postcard thing. Then Repetend 2 is one from India, Greetings from India, where I learned how to cook this, this, and this. And then within that genre, yes, you guessed it, people, she's going to talk about Indian baking cuisine. And so that's a good way to go. Sort of, an idea of postcards that ties everything together because it's around the world, it's about travel, stuff like that. Again, it's visual, it looks good, it gives a bit of information, and they all tie together and they all have the similar sort of idea to sort of lead the reader through so that by the end of starting at the introduction and moving towards the end and the reflection, the reader feels like they've been going in a line that they can follow, and that's what the Repetend does. Our last one, quickly, is one about NFL football players and their salaries. Here we have an interesting creation of statistics that are new. So what she basically is arguing that NFL salaries are far too high. So what she did was found stats about money that was spent and compared it to real life items to show the ridiculousness that she argues for in all of these genres. So